Hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas. Welcome to another class with me, Stephanie, here at Linguistico. This class is the Activities and Hobbies class. It's a conversation class focused on speaking, basically responding to questions, engaging in conversation in a natural sort of way that will allow you to practice the language and gain confidence. So, our topic for today, like I said, is activities and hobbies. We will be talking about our own personal activities and hobbies, as well as activities and hobbies that perhaps we would like to engage in the future. So I guess I will begin with my own. There's a student who has signed up for the class, so we'll see. It is Christmas Day, so I understand if there aren't many people or anyone in the class, just because it's Christmas and many people around the world are celebrating or with their families today. Although not everybody, there are some countries who don't. Hi, Simon. Simon, how are you?
Culture.
How are you?
I'm great. How's everything?
Good. It's good to have you in class again. Welcome to the Activities and Hobbies class.
Thanks.
No
It's so glad to be
problem.
here.
Good. So in this class, basically it's another conversation class. We will be talking about activities and hobbies, our own activities and hobbies, as well as activities and hobbies that we think we might enjoy perhaps in the future. And we will even talk about activities and hobbies that we don't know anything about, that we don't do, but that seem interesting. So to begin, you may have told me in the past, but do you have a specific hobby or activity that you enjoy doing frequently?
Riding my bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
And when you ride your bicycle, do you just ride it to go to school, or do you ride it, how do I say this? Do you have like a professional bike with professional equipment and you ride and you gauge the distance and the speed and all of that? Is that the kind of riding that you do? What kind of bike riding do you do?
No, I do it as a recreational sport. I
Uh-huh.
go on Mondays or on Sundays. I ride my bicycle outdoor. There is a place which is called Air Park, what is called Air Park. So I take advantage of this space, ride my bicycle. Then I do some exercise, jogging. So I
And
arrive toward there and I take advantage of this to do other exercises,
good.
all
And
kind of sport.
when you ride your bike, do you ride it for about half an hour or 1 hour or how long?
I have never counted it, but I just know that I ride it to get to the place that I wanted to. For example, I decided to ride my bicycle on Sunday, so when I want to visit a friend, I will do it with my bicycle. When I want to buy something, I will do it with my bicycle. If I
Ah,
want to exercise, I will do it with my bicycle.
okay. So I'm going to write something for you in the chat. So for you, it is a means of transportation. That
Yeah,
means it's a type of transportation that you use. Instead of going on the bus, instead of walking, instead of using a vehicle,
or
sometimes you take your bike
motorcycle.
and you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's healthier.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's nice. Hello, Natalia. Welcome to class. Do you hear me? Natalia, do you hear me? Welcome to class. I'm Stephanie. Do you have a microphone? Let me write to you in the chat. Just a second, Simon. I don't hear you. I'm sorry. Do you hear me? Do you have your microphone turned on? Check to see if your microphone is turned on, and that will help. Um, yes. Hang on a second. One second. Okay. Anyhow, Simon, today we're going to be talking about some interesting hobbies and activities as well, like rock climbing and skydiving and bungee jumping and windsurfing and all kinds of crazy things that I've never tried. Some things I have tried.
By the way, what are your hobbies? You haven't told me about it.
My what?
Your hobbies.
Oh,
What
I
are your
will.
hobbies?
I will, but just you know what? Give me 1 second so I can
Okay,
respond
no
to.
problem. Do it.
Okay. Um, I- Oops, I made a typo. Oh well. Okay. Anyways, okay, so my hobbies. Okay, so my hobbies, I enjoy cooking. That's one hobby that I enjoy. And what I really like to do is look up recipes, and I like to look at the picture of something, and sometimes I don't even follow the recipe. I just look at the picture and I look at the ingredients, and I try to recreate the same recipe. Now, sometimes I look at the recipe and I follow the recipe, but generally I don't. So cooking to me is very relaxing. It's enjoyable because afterwards I'm able to share the food with other people. However, sometimes when I make a new recipe, I share it right away with other people, and then I get scared that maybe the recipe didn't turn out correctly, and I'm sharing it and I don't have time to make something else if it doesn't turn out. But it's kind of just like a risk that I take, because normally they say if you're going to invite someone to dinner or make dinner for other people that you should try do a recipe that you know how to do well. And sometimes I don't follow that rule and I take the risk. But normally everything turns out good. Do you like cooking at all, Simon?
Yes, I do.
And what do
I
you
mean,
like to?
it's okay. My mother taught me how to make a rice, and I know how to make a rice very delicious, a delicious rice.
Uh-huh.
And I can maybe, or I can, I can, I can prepare spaghettis as well.
Okay, one second. We say spaghetti without the S
Okay,
at the
can
end. We no,
spaghetti.
don't say spaghettis, just spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Yes, just spaghetti. And when you make spaghetti, do you make the noodles as well, or do you just open a
No,
package of noodles?
I haven't been taught to do it like this, but I add sauce, a delicious sauce, and then I maybe complement it with meatballs.
Oh, good. So you do put some meat in there. Sounds delicious.
Yeah, meatballs.
Yes. My mother-in-law, she makes homemade spaghetti. So she makes the dough and she has the machine that spins the dough and it comes out basically like a flat piece of dough and you have to keep putting it in there multiple times. And then you put it in one last time and it breaks it up into like the strings of spaghetti basically. And she knows how to do that, and homemade spaghetti is amazing. It's different from the noodles that you buy at the store. It has a little bit of a different texture and maybe even a different flavor, but she's like a professional because she's been making it for years.
I love noodles. Delicious.
Yeah. So, okay. So another hobby of mine that I like to do but I don't do very often is writing. I really enjoy writing poetry and songs and short stories. Do you like writing at all or reading?
Okay, at university, I had to learn how to write, and I learned how to love it because I didn't like. But once I start with this, I start loving it and start writing and doing it and doing this continually.
Mm-hmm. So you do like writing.
Yes, I haven't written a book or something like this, but when I have to make a history of history, I write it well.
Do you mean an essay? Like an essay?
Yes, I say
Oh, okay. Okay, great. And um, do you know what adventure sports are?
yes, of course.
Good. Okay, so name a few adventure sports.
One that I want to practice maybe one day, bungee jumping.
Have you done bungee jumping?
No, I want to.
Oh, you do?
I
Wow.
want to, but I haven't practiced it. I want.
I don't know. Do people practice bungee jumping or do they just do it?
I think they gotta maybe practice how to jump or those things, because they got to be ready or trained to jump in that way so that they don't hurt
Yeah. You
themselves.
know, it's funny because when I was younger, I used to say, I want to do bungee jumping and skydiving and all
What
kinds of
about
adventure
climbing?
sports. What?
You like climbing?
Climbing?
Yeah, climbing. I don't know.
Like rock climbing?
Yeah, climbing.
I've tried it and it's hard. It's really hard. I can do hiking. I like hiking. But rock climbing, I've done it on the fake walls that have like little rocks that you grab, and it makes my legs so sore. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it, but I want to. But hiking
Okay.
is easier, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it is, and it's not. It depends on the angle of the mountain that you're hiking, because if the mountain is like this, yeah, you'll feel a burn in your leg and it won't be so bad. But if the mountain is like this, you're basically going straight up and it gets to be almost like
It
rock
was like
climbing.
yeah,
What?
the same you said. I said
Oh, yeah. So, anyhow, I was going to tell you that when I was younger, I used to say, I want to do bungee jumping and skydiving and all kinds of dangerous adventure sports. And now I think I changed my mind. Like, there are some things I would like to try. Like, I would like to try surfing. But I don't know if I really want to jump out of an airplane and go down in a parachute or bungee jump off of a bridge. I just I don't know. I changed.
I wanna jump in a parachute. It's so adventurous and uh, I don't know. I would like to do it. I'm
Yeah.
not.
Well, have you ever
The
been on a
word is
roller? What?
the word is adventurous or adventuring. It's adventuring or adventurous.
The the
It's
world is, I would actually say life is an adventure. Honestly, I would say life is an adventure or um
it's
but
adventurous. I
the
can say.
world is adventurous. That doesn't actually really make sense because the world isn't adventurous. If you think about it, the world is like a planet, and a planet cannot be adventurous.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
wanna ask you because it doesn't make sense.
yeah. So anyhow, I do like adventure sports, but to me now, I think there's a limit. I would like to try surfing. Have you ever been surfing?
No, no,
Okay.
I have.
Do you think you would like to try it one day?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And the cool thing about surfing is that you can do classes. So you can learn and then you can slowly get onto the waves. It's not like bungee jumping, because I don't know how people practice bungee jumping. I think you just have to go off. I don't know. Because bungee jumping and skydiving, those are things that amateurs are able to do. Skydiving, you can do it, but you do it with a professional like on your back. Have you ever seen the pictures or a video where they put the two people together and they go out of the plane together, one on top of the other?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, I have some friends that have done it and they really liked it. But I've actually known somebody that got into a very bad accident by skydiving, and he was a professional. He was experienced. He had gone well over 100 times, maybe even close to 1,000. I don't
Is
know.
he still alive?
No.
My goodness, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I didn't know him very well. He was a teacher at my high school. But that I think maybe that's what changed my ideas about these kinds of sports. After
That
knowing about somebody that experienced something like that, I kind of thought about it and was like, well, if it happened to him, it could happen to me, and that's not a risk
yeah,
I'm willing to take, especially when I think there are so many other wonderful adventures in the world. But I know this is just my opinion. Like there are some people who say, "No, no, it's fine. Like I do it all the time." So I don't want to stop anybody else from doing it. It's just my own personal decision.
sometimes those kinds of things mm, may change our mind.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, another question. Have you ever been on a roller coaster?
Yes, I
Oh.
remember it like yesterday.
Yeah, was it a very big one?
Not because I was a child, so I wasn't allowed to get into the bigger one.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, what I would say, just think about this. Before you go bungee jumping or doing anything like that, go on a big roller coaster. And if you can handle that, if you love that and you want more, then do bungee jumping. But try a big roller coaster first.
Okay, I'll do it.
Cool.
Thanks
Okay.
for advice.
No, I've been on some very big roller coasters and they are fun also, but then sometimes on the news you see scary stories about things that went wrong on roller coasters. So I don't know. I don't even know if I want to do that anymore. But anyhow, okay, so moving right along. Okay, nature. Nature and activities and hobbies. There are a lot of people, as you know, who have a lot of activities and hobbies related to nature. For example, some people like to go fishing, maybe in lakes or rivers or even deep sea fishing. There are people who like to go camping. What other kinds of outdoor activities and hobbies related to nature can you think of?
Okay, I let me a second, I think, because even though I know a lot of things for doing in nature, I have to
Mhm.
think about it. Maybe I just can remember camping, maybe hunt, maybe
Oh,
hunter,
that's
hunter,
true. Okay, okay. I'm going to make a list on the side. Let's think of some of these things together. Okay, camping,
hunt,
hunting,
hunt,
fishing.
yeah, hunting, fishing, maybe climbing, maybe.
Uh-huh. Climbing. I thought of rock collecting.
Uh,
There are some people who collect rocks. Have you heard of this?
no, butterflies
Yeah.
as well.
Yes. Yes, that's true too. Um, there are some people who like to study plants.
Okay,
Gardening.
biology.
Gardening, a good outdoor activity. My mom does a lot of gardening. So she plants flowers and she plants vegetables and she takes care of them. And it's interesting because to be a gardener, you really have to know about the earth and the seasons and the sun and how to give water to the plants and many, many things. And for example, I don't know very much about gardening. I know a little bit because my mom exposed me to it, but it's not actually one of my hobbies. Maybe in the future, but I don't have a lot of extra time.
I don't know, but gardening requires a lot of care, and people who do it, I think they are very thoughtful, they are very intelligent, or they are so expert on doing this in a way that I get impressed because they do it very well. They know
Yeah.
when do they have to plant, they know when to water the plants, they know very well how to take care of them, how to cut maybe
Yes, even how to just
hairs.
cut. So, by the way, when we say cut a plant, the word we have
Recall,
a specific word for that. We have a specific word for that.
maybe I
It's
know it.
what
Pickle.
is it?
I'm gonna write it because I don't know how to pronounce it. That's why sometimes it's like this. Maybe.
Almost. You're so close because it starts with a P, but it's actually prune.
Apple.
Prune.
Thanks.
Yes. No, no problem. So, for example, I learned a lot about pruning trees and rose bushes and plants from my mom. Because what you have to do is after the summer, after the tree has given all of its fruit and winter's coming, the tree goes dormant. Okay, dormant is like when it sleeps all winter, okay? So before the tree goes dormant, you have to cut all the branches, you have to prune them at an angle. So it's kind of like this. You cut them, but at an angle, and that I don't remember why. I don't remember why we cut them at an angle, but it has to do with the way that it grows after it's been cut at an angle. But then you prune the tree back so that way when spring comes again, the tree can make new growth. Or it can grow more. It can make new branches and lots of leaves and more fruit.
That's why they
So,
know everything about it.
what?
Yeah, they know everything about it.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? That gardening, I think people used to know more about it just in general in the past because in the past, people would grow their own fruits and vegetables. Many people were farmers. And so I think the general public always sort of knew something at least about gardening. And now there are some people who don't know anything about it. And it's really interesting because my husband's grandparents, they have a huge garden. It's immense. They grow rows of vegetables, like rows of lettuce, rows of carrots, and they know when to plant, they know how to harvest, when to harvest, and for them it's so natural because they're from Italy. They were born and raised in Italy, and they lived through the World War II, and then they came to Argentina. So they learned from a young age how to garden, how to make their own food. And I think that in a way that's actually extremely important knowledge to know how to make your own food because if not, you always have to buy food and what if someday you get stuck in a place where there is no store and you need to grow your own food. So,
Yeah,
very interesting.
in my backyard, we have sown many seeds. We have some plants, or we have some onions. So possibly when they grow up, we are gonna eat them.
Good. Yeah, I know my mom used to have lots of plants too, but she never really grew onions. That was one of the plants that we didn't grow. We didn't grow onions or potatoes, but like green plants and peppers and tomatoes, we grew lots of those. Okay, cool. Okay, so are there any other outdoor activities you can think of before we move on? I have one, but go
Which
ahead.
one?
Try and think of a few more before we move on.
Maybe I know about it, but riding bicycle, maybe on the mountains.
Oh, yeah, riding the bike down the mountains. That is mountain biking.
Yeah.
Mountain biking. Good. Um, the one I thought of was whitewater rafting. Do you know what that is?
I a teacher told me about it, but I can't remember exactly. But you will have to maybe with some staff, or I don't know, a stick, and move and try to move on.
Say that again. I didn't quite hear you.
Okay, you have maybe two stick, no a staff or a stick, and you gotta move on. It's like a canoeing.
Oh, yes. Okay. Exactly. But instead of having a canoe, you have a raft and you have paddles. Okay. The paddles are the things that you
Yeah, that's what I mean.
row with. Exactly.
They're
So I'm going to
like
show you
legs.
exactly. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And these are some pictures of some people whitewater rafting. And it's cool because
Yes.
there are some rapids. I'll explain what rapids are. See the white water here? These are called rapids. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen again and go back here, and I'll write that for you. Okay, rapids. Okay, the rapids are the white water. The white water that makes the raft move and go very quickly. Um, those are called rapids. And the team that is in the raft, they work together with the paddles to steer down the rapids to avoid the rocks. And yeah, it's really fun. I've done it a couple times, but there are basically levels of difficulty. Levels of difficulty. Some paths we can say are maybe a 5, like they're not very difficult. And then some maybe are a 9, which means experts only, this is very difficult. And the ones I went on probably weren't that difficult because we were all teenagers when I did it. But it was still fun. It was a good experience. Good. Okay. So, do you know anybody who has any type of scientific or mathematic um, hobby or activity that they enjoy? Um, Science related.
Yeah, a cousin.
Okay, and what does your cousin do?
We enjoy doing mathematics exercise or doing those kinds of things. I don't know why, but he spends time doing it.
So he directly just enjoys doing math problems.
Yeah,
Okay, good. That's really interesting. Yeah, I know that there are some, I guess you could say, games that are math related. Like, isn't Sudoku, isn't that one of like the famous ones?
I don't know.
Let me
We,
write it. Maybe you Sudoku.
no, to be honest, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know this one?
Maybe,
Okay, this is just a game. It's a numbers game. It's very interesting. So
maybe he loves playing logical games.
yeah, it's basically like that, like a logic game. Um, know anybody who likes, I don't know, studying the stars or the moon and looking at them through a telescope?
No, I haven't known anybody.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that enjoys that either, but I've seen it in the movies. So I assume that some people must enjoy it.
Maybe, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and then other science related hobbies. And I know there are some people who like to study animal behavior. My brother-in-law, for example, he knows different species of birds, and he will go to areas where there are lots of birds, and he does bird watching. Have you ever heard of this hobby?
Maybe on TV.
Yeah. So bird watching is basically where you have binoculars and you study birds and bird you go to bird habitats where there are many birds, and you watch them, you observe them, and maybe you watch them as build nests or feed their babies. Um, and it's really interesting because like these people that do bird watching, they know so much about birds. Like my brother-in-law, he can hear a bird and he says, "Oh, I know what bird this is." And he'll tell you because he knows the sound that it makes and he recognizes it. And for me, I mean, I just hear birds outside all the time, but he actually knows what it's called, where it comes from. Maybe sometimes he even knows their migration patterns. It's really quite intense. I don't think I've ever had a hobby that I have studied that intensely that was so, I guess, educational. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know, but they didn't understand everything you have said.
Yeah. Um,
It's
okay, so now
interesting
let's,
because I don't know if this is really weird, but I have wanted to study ants because
oh,
I found them very interesting.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
I don't know exactly anything about whether that's a hobby or not, but I know that there are like, you know how you can buy a fish tank and put fish in it? I believe you
Yeah,
can buy like something that is for ants as well, and you can
yeah,
like watch the
I have
ants.
seen it. With clays, you build a house for them. They can build it, and they maybe can do holes. Do they can dig and get inside of their holes and make a home for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, you know, if I had time, maybe I would even look into that. Or at least I would go visit somebody who knows about that just to learn a little bit. I've
Yes,
thought about that myself.
I
Yeah,
want
and
to know about it.
I think it's pretty fascinating. I think it's pretty fascinating. Um, okay, now let's go from nature and hobbies that have to do with nature to sort of like hobbies that have to do with, I guess you could say, electronics and things that are unnatural, like video games. Do you ever play video games?
Yes, I was a
Okay,
child and I play a lot of video games, but I don't have enough time enough to do it.
yeah. So what you're saying is when you were younger, when you were a kid, you used to play
Yes.
lots of video games, and now you don't because you don't have as much time. So do you miss playing video games?
Not at all.
Not at all. And what games did you used to play?
San Andrea.
What is it called?
I used to play San Andrea,
Uh-huh. Okay.
soccer. Even I was going to play soccer with a with a neighbor who lives
Mm-hmm.
in front of my house, invited me,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't go. But maybe in a couple of days I will go to play with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, video games. I I don't actually play video games, and I'm not good at it, but I know that a lot of people do. And the people who play games seriously, who are very serious about it and spend many hours playing it, there's a word that we use to describe to name them, and that word is a gamer or gamers. Have you ever heard of this word?
No, but I can quickly familiarize with it.
Yeah, well, because, people say, I'm a gamer. Okay, so if you ever hear somebody say this, they're basically saying, I play video games and I do it seriously. I'm not just somebody who does it sort of recreationally. Like, I'm a gamer. I
Yeah.
really play a lot of games. Do you have any friends who are gamers?
Hmm, not exactly. Maybe they are, but I don't have that time to know about it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the TV show, The Big Bang Theory
I
with
haven't,
Sheldon?
but I have seen the ads in it.
Okay, so basically the main character, his name is Sheldon, and him and all of his friends are gamers.
Oh, my goodness, great.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. Supposedly they're all nerds and they all play lots of online games. And a lot of times what these people do is they get together like to hang out. They all bring their computers and they play against each other, but virtually, like from each one's computer. And the interesting thing, like the gaming world is so, I guess you could say, advanced, especially with the technology. Like you could play a game here with people in China or in the United States. There's a game, for example, that my husband plays, and he has teammates that are all over the world because the people just enter this website to play a game, and people enter from all over the world, and it's a very famous game, and they all play against each other.
Yeah, many video games they bring that option that you can play with other people around the world.
Yeah.
I got a friend who does the same that your husband does. He plays with with other people.
Yeah. So for me personally, I don't enjoy video games. I don't know why I don't enjoy them, but I don't. Um, However, if I'm with my family, there is one game that I enjoy. And I don't even remember what it's called, but it's basically a dancing game. So you hold something in your hand. It's like a something that tells the computer where your arm is going, and you watch the people on the screen, and you have to dance and do what they do, and you get points if you do it right. And I think that one is fun, and especially because I play it with my nephew, and he's like 6 years old. And so those are the kinds of games that I like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Can you hear me well, by the way?
Yeah, I'm hearing you well. I feel like your voice always sounds a little bit robotic, just because I don't know if it's the connection that you have or what, but I definitely hear you a lot better than I used to hear you a couple weeks ago. So I'm glad that got resolved.
I'm
Um,
glad as well.
Good. Okay, so I have a question. Do you know the word, are you familiar with the word craft or crafts?
Yes.
Okay, and so what does this word mean to you?
Right. Maybe can be I have seen it in times like a car or something like this.
Good. Okay, so you know what it is. Okay, so I wanted to tell you basically that this is another activity or hobby that many people do, and they call it crafting. Okay? And some people are so into crafting that they have a room dedicated to it. You know, like the bedroom, the office, the living room, and then they have a crafting room. And in this room, they have all kinds of things that they use to make crafts. And some people do all kinds of crafts, like they make decorations for the home, um, or maybe they make cards, or special. All that you can make anything. It's just anything you can make with your hands. However, other people specialize in a certain craft. So I know somebody who specializes in handmade cards. She
It's,
That's her craft.
I will tell you how we call it in Spanish. The- It's manualidades.
Oh, really? Can you write that for me?
Este, Sí, tenemos una
Ah,
clase when I was at school, we had a class what is called manualidades.
okay.
So they
Do they
taught me
use?
how to make things with my
Yeah.
hand, or with my hands because I have to.
Over there in Colombia, do they use the word artesanal or artesanía or anything like that?
I don't know if you have heard about indigenous people.
Uh-huh.
They love doing artisanal works. I don't know how to call it
Oh,
in English.
okay. So for you, the first word that you taught me, manualidad, that's what normal, like not normal people, everyday people do. But then indigenous populations, they do like the artesanal type of
Well,
stuff.
there is a difference, I think, because when you are a child, they taught you manualidad, that is with plastilina. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to call it. Or maybe they will give you papers and you will have to do many things and shape it. Maybe you will have to shape it like an animal, like whatever. shape you wanna get to it or they teach you, you
Mm-hmm.
will have to do it with your hands. So,
Oh, okay. Cool.
uh,
Interesting. Okay. Not to change the topic, but the next thing that I have for us to talk about, it's an activity and a hobby, but it might be uncommon for many people. It's actually volunteer work. Do you know what volunteer work is?
I know what it means, but I haven't done it.
Okay. So I have a friend who volunteers every single Saturday at a geriatric center. Do you know what a geriatric center is?
Not, I don't know.
It's it's a place where the elderly live. Elderly is a very proper and respectful way of saying old people.
Yes, I
Because in
know.
Oh,
Elderly.
okay, good. Good. Elderly. Okay. So in English, we don't, if you want to come across respectful and proper, say elderly. Don't say old people. Okay?
It sounds
So,
ugly. It's the same in French. You can say all in vieux is vieja en francés, so you gotta say como avanzado en edad, porque
uh-huh.
viejo suena muy feo.
Yeah,
Eres una
exactly.
persona avanzada en edad. Don't say
Exactly.
viejo.
And while we're on this topic, let me tell you, in the United States, we also don't say fat. Do you know what we say instead of fat?
What? Which part do you use? Do you use?
We say big or large. So we'll say
Oh
she's
my
a
goodness, I didn't
larger.
know.
She'll say she's we. If somebody is fat, we don't say she's a fat woman. We say she is a larger woman, or she is a bigger woman, or she is a we don't even say she is a big woman. We say bigger or larger. Because if you say large, it's just like, whoa, she's so big. And maybe she is. Maybe she is really, really
So you
obese or
try
he.
to avoid people getting hurt.
Yes. So I'll write this for you. And over there, we are very politically correct, generally speaking. So we try to be as least offensive as possible when we speak.
Yeah,
So sometimes, even if it's true, like fat, I mean, it's the truth, but sometimes we don't even say it just because it's considered rude and offensive. So
I
the same
think
thing with what?
I think we must be taught about it because when you are learning another language, they don't teach you how to respect people, or maybe there are many words that you can say you are offending older people, you are making them feel really bad.
Yeah, exactly. So this is that's why I jumped in here and I took the opportunity to teach you this as well, just because it is important. And you know, the sad thing is that there are some people who actually live in the United States and they know English and they don't know this, or maybe they know it but they aren't respectful enough to use these terms, and so they will just say, "Oh, that old lady" or "that fat man," and it's not very nice.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
isn't.
Okay, so I was saying, my friend works at a geriatric center, and geriatric centers, in Spanish, there's a different word that you use for them, but basically, and it sounds similar, but basically, it's a place where elderly
Ancianato?
people. Oh, is that how they say it there in Colombia?
Yes, where it's like a foster home for older people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
interesting.
I don't know if they call it, but in my city we say ancianato.
Okay, good. I think here they say geriátrico, I think.
I have never heard about this word.
Oh, really? Well, that's okay. Okay, so anyhow, like I said, I have a friend who volunteers there, and I think that that's really special just because she's young. She is 20 years old, and she's been
Oh,
going to
so
this
cute.
place. Yeah, she's been going to this place and volunteering for 2 years. And she said that it's really difficult sometimes because basically she's working with people that are dying. So the people that go to these places, they aren't people that are just like 60 years old or 70. They're like 95, 100, 80,
88,
like,
yeah.
89. These are people that are maybe they have cancer, but basically they're dying. And so when she told me that she does that, I just was like, wow, I admire you so much because in her free time, every Saturday morning, she goes and spends time with these people. So I thought that was
Yeah,
very special.
isn't that easy to deal that, with those people? And she have done it.
Yeah, so she has a very big heart.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's one type of volunteer work. I used to volunteer in a second grade classroom, and I did that because, well, I wanted the experience, and also because my niece was in the class, and she was having some learning difficulties, and I wanted to observe how she was learning because since I was a teacher, I wanted to observe how she was learning and everything. So I volunteered there, and I realized, oh my goodness, the public school system needs more volunteers just because those teachers sometimes are so overworked. They have maybe 38-year-olds. 38-year-olds, that's too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
have
okay,
experienced it.
what?
I have experienced it, and it's difficult to have many
Yeah,
students at the same classroom.
yeah. So, okay, so let's make another little list of places that people can volunteer at. So they can volunteer in
Red
schools. Where
Cross,
else? Huh?
Red Cross,
Yes, that's a great one. Red Cross. What
ONG.
about what?
I don't know how to put it. I'm gonna write it.
Okay. Uh-huh. The that's the World Health Organization, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, we say that we say it differently.
Yeah, I forgot it, but I know about it.
World Health Organization. I don't know if it's like this, like how I wrote it here, um, or if it has one more letter. I don't remember.
I'm gonna
But
write it on Google Search.
good. Okay. Um, so hospitals, people can also volunteer in hospitals and recreational centers.
Yes.
Recreational centers, maybe where kids go after school to spend a couple hours while they wait for their parents to get off of work and go pick them up. That's what they do at recreational centers. And sometimes recreational centers, they have programs in the summer. So because since the kids don't go to public school, these recreational centers, sometimes they're free, sometimes you pay for them. But basically, like the parents have a place where they can leave their kids during the day while they go to work um, rather than school.
Yeah.
So, okay, other places that people could volunteer at.
I'm gonna tell
I
you
think
upon it. World Health Organization. World Health Organization.
so. It is the.
Oh,
Oh,
what
good.
you wrote.
I was correct.
There are a lot of places that maybe can be a volunteer.
Yeah. You know, the incredible thing is that you can volunteer in places all over the world. Like, you don't even have to volunteer in your city. You can go to a different state or a different
Yeah,
country. You can teach Spanish to children in China, for example,
yeah.
or, it's really,
We have lots of people who live here. There are from who are living here, and they are from other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So, okay, my last question for the day
Yeah,
is think about all of the hobbies we've talked about and all the other ones that exist. And if you had extra time and you wanted to pursue a hobby and learn a lot about it and get really good at it, of all of the ones we talked about and the ones we haven't talked about, what do you think you would pursue?
okay, it's a difficult choice, but I will say that I will choose riding my bicycle.
So, but do you mean writing it the way that you always write it, or do you want to learn more about professional writing and join actual races and stuff like that?
Maybe the same way that I'm doing, but adding maybe a camera that I can record the places where I go and using my equipment, and that's it.
Cool.
Or possibly learning more about it, because everything you do, maybe possibly you will need to know about it, more
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, one hobby that we forgot to mention is the one that we are doing, learning languages.
Yeah, it's very
Cool.
challenging. It's very challenging.
Yes, but you're doing
And what
well.
about you? What would you
If
like
I
to do?
had time to pursue another hobby, this is really hard because there are so many things that I enjoy. I enjoy artistic things like painting and photography, and I enjoy nature
Doing things
things like
about beauty? Yeah,
camping.
because you
What?
told me you enjoy doing things about beauty. You told me
Yes. Yeah, I like being creative. I like sports, I like writing. My problem is that I like too many things. So, but if I had to
that you gotta
choose,
choose one.
yeah, if if I had to choose, I think right at this moment I would make time to learn how to play the guitar because that's something
Oh
I've
my
been
goodness, I
really
know how
wanting
to
to
do it.
learn. You do?
Yeah, I play the guitar, piano, the double bass. Maybe someday I can send you a video that I have playing the double bass.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe you know how to do it. Yeah, I've
On
been thinking.
internet and YouTube, I think they record and I'm playing the double bass.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I know on YouTube there's lots of educational videos that teach you directly how to play. So I think I would love to do that.
Yeah,
However, I don't
of
have a
course.
guitar right now, so I would have to get serious about it. And if I'm going to spend the money to get a guitar, then I would actually really have to focus on learning it.
Yeah, and don't forget, I want to point out discipline
What?
because the discipline,
Oh, the discipline. Yeah, to practice. Do you practice a
yeah,
lot?
because I practice it, but now it's because I have learned how to play it, so I don't expect that time when I wasn't a person who knows how to play the guitar. Before I
Yeah.
had to practice a lot, but now I just play it and try to perfect or improve the way that I play it. It's
Yeah.
the same in languages, I'm learning, I'm perfecting my English, so I gotta practice it every day.
Yeah.
And that
Well, the
and it
the
works.
thing the thing with music and English and hobbies and activities like that is that basically you never get perfect because you can always get better. You can always speak English better. You can always learn more. You can always get better at
Yeah.
music. So that's difficult. That's the difficult part. But I wanted to tell you at the beginning of this conversation, I don't know if you noticed, but I was leading the conversation. I was asking you a lot of questions and you would respond. I would ask you questions and you would respond. And it wasn't until maybe the last 20 minutes where you started asking me questions. And congratulations. Like that's exactly what I was trying to go for in these classes, where the students get comfortable enough to forget that they're actually in a class and to really actually engage with the teacher and the other students. So I'm really glad that you did that, and I hope we can keep working towards this in the future, because that's the reason why I focus so much on conversation in my classes. I really want everybody to get comfortable making conversation in English, and I want to say that the first part of the class, the first half hour, it felt long for me, longer, because I had to be very attentive to what you said, and I had to focus on the next question I was going to ask you. However, as soon as you started asking me questions, I forgot about the time, and the last like 20 minutes just went by so quickly.
Yeah, how it works because doing it in a kind of friendly or maybe being friendly and trying to make the person feel comfortable, and you are doing a great job because I didn't feel that comfortable, but now I'm building my confidence and I'm going on and forward, and that's what I wanted to get.
Good. Okay,
And
well, if
thanks a
you
lot.
no problem. And basically, when you sign up to do the private classes, this is how they will be as well, where you will get confident enough to ask questions and engage in the conversation as well. So anyhow, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining. If you're interested, I give another class in 2 hours.
Yeah, I will be interesting, but I'll be out because I got a meeting. But it was a great class that I enjoyed so much. So I wanna say
Awesome.
to you, congratulate. I wanna tell you congratulations.
Thank you, Simon. Well, have a great night and a Merry Christmas, okay?
You too, and
Okay,
God bless you.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.